it's me, Dr. Q, the one and only life coach for people with pets, and I'm here to talk to you about diarrhea and vomiting today. Primarily vomiting, we're going to start with that. These are the things that you definitely want to ask yourself if you're trying to decide how serious of a concern it is that your dog is vomiting. So, the number one thing that you want to think about is, did my animal get into something? So, number one, did my animal get into something? So, think about what happened in the last couple of days. Were there new guests over? Did they get into the trash? Did they get a new toy that they maybe tore apart, maybe swallowed a piece of that, something along those lines? Did they possibly run away for a short amount of time to where they might have run into a neighbor's yard or something like that and got into something that way? So those are definitely things that you want to think about and make sure that you take note of that. Second of all, what I want you to think about is your pet really young or also really old? Those kinds of two scenarios, it tends to be a little bit more serious. So, first of all, think about whether or not your pet got into anything. And then, second of all, think about your pet's health as far as their age is concerned. A very old pet that's frail and weak that starts vomiting, that's definitely something that's going to be more serious, as well as a very young, like a 6-week-old puppy or something like that, that's vomiting. They don't have a lot of reserves, and so it is actually way more serious for them as well. So take that into consideration, because if they are very young or very old, then you might want to think about getting them into the vet sooner than later. And also, of course, if they got into something, you're going to want to get them into the vet sooner than later to make sure that they don't have a foreign body or toxic ingestion or something along those lines. Next, you want to think about, is your pet on any medications that might cause vomiting? So you definitely want to be aware of that. Supplements and non-steroidal anti-inflammatory pain medications, those things can sometimes cause upset stomachs. So if you started anything new, think about that, anything new. And not just supplements and medications, but you also want to think about foods. Did you try new treats? Did you take your pet with you to a store and a clerk might have offered them something that they haven't had before? Any animal can have a reaction to anything at any time, so you definitely want to take that into consideration, and that'll help you to decide how serious that the vomiting might be. So let's recap again really quick. You want to take into consideration the animal's age, any changes that they might have had recently. Also, if they got into anything, if they tore anything up recently, all those things are going to help you make the decision on whether or not your animal is very, very sick, or also likely to be maybe it's just a little one-time thing and we don't need to worry about it too much. So the next thing I want you to think about is, how is your animal acting? Are they behaving normally? Are they running around and playful and interested in eating and taking treats and things like that, but just happen to have one episode of vomiting? Well, then that maybe is not as serious as an animal that is vomiting and can't stop vomiting, doesn't feel good, is refusing food. Those kinds of things make it a whole lot more serious and a lot more concerning, and that you definitely want to talk to your veterinarian about. So if you've made it through this far in the video and you're still trying to make up your mind whether or not you think that your pet is sick enough that they need to go into the vet, now I want you to think about, do they have any diarrhea? Because an animal that has vomiting and diarrhea is much less likely to have a obstruction of some kind, because it tells you that things are moving through the intestinal tract. But it also could indicate a more serious illness, especially if they're very sick, something like parvo. And so you want to take, again, all the other pieces and parts into consideration. How sick they are they acting normal? Do you know if they got into anything? Are they frail? And anything else that you can think of. Certainly, if there's blood in it, right, that is way more serious. So anytime an animal is vomiting and they have blood in it, even if they're acting pretty normally, that's definitely one of the signs that I would say is extremely serious, and you want to get into your vet and get them checked out right away. Don't wait around on that. But if everything else being equal seems okay, you're certain they didn't get into anything, they're not particularly old or frail. They haven't gotten into anything, torn anything up. They're acting normal, and everything is going well, other than this maybe one episode of vomiting. Maybe they went outside and ate grass. Sometimes dogs will eat grass because they have a little bit of an upset tummy. Also, sometimes I think dogs eat grass just because they crave a fresh green salad, just like us. So I think it's totally normal for dogs to eat grass sometimes. I don't always think it's some kind of a nutritional deficiency or anything like that. So taking all of those things into consideration will help you make a decision about how sick you think your pet is. And if you think that they're doing pretty good and you're not terribly concerned at this point about rushing off to the vet, then tune into my next video and we'll talk more about what to do as far as at home, how to treat vomiting and mild cases of diarrhea naturally, so without having to go into the vet or Googling a bunch of things about what you should do and how concerned you should be, because by now you should know how serious it is. So you're either off to the vet or you're on to the next video to learn what you can do to treat vomiting and diarrhea naturally for your dog in your home. I'm Dr. Q, here to help you have the most amazing relationship with all of the animals in your life. If this video is helpful for you, please tell me about it in the comments down below. Like the video and subscribe to our channel. We'll see you right here in the next video. Thanks for tuning in.